Trolling, 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 trolling,
It's time for Minnesota Fishing and Hunting Adventures on AM 1300 WQPM, brought to you by Fishlander Pontoons and Custom Tackle. Call them at 1-855-782-FISH or FishlanderPontoons.com. Also by Backwood Sports, 5690 Highway 95 Northwest in Princeton. Your fishing and hunting supply headquarters. Call them today, 763-389-1987. Also by Dead Zone Guide Service. That's dzguideservice.com. Evan Cornell is the owner and operator. Give him a call today, 612-321-1308. And by Mounts and Memories Taxidermist. That's mountsandmemories.com. Call 320-491-2131. And now it's time for Minnesota Fishing and Hunting Adventures on AM 1300 WQPM. And welcome to another edition of Minnesota Fishing and Hunting Adventures on WQPM. We've got some special guests in the studio with us this morning. Evan Cornell, one of our sponsors from Dead Zone Guide Service. Good morning, Evan.
Morning.
How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. We also have Mr. Dan Gapin Sr., also Ann Orth from Gapin Lures. And good morning to both of you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Hi.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Now, Dan, if you will, I know you're a little bit hard of hearing, and I am a little bit too. But tell us a little bit about your background. I know you've been in fishing all of your life.
Yeah.
And just tell us a little bit.
I grew up in northern Ontario. I was born in Duluth, Minnesota. My grandparents ran Gateway Lodge, which is, Hungry Jack Flower, the old Pillsbury family used to come up there. And so from there, my family moved to Nipigon, Ontario, where we ran a fishing and hunting resort for a long time.
Right.
And I started guiding at the age of 14, and I guided till I was 22, then ended up in the Korean thing, and so I've been fishing all my life. I guess the best way your listeners would identify, especially the younger ones, I started fly tying when I was 6 years old. I was tying commercially at 8 years of age for a half a cent a fly.
Wow.
And at that time, that was big money.
Oh, I bet it was.
And I tell my grandchildren that, and they just think, oh, my goodness, Granddad, that nobody works for half a cent. I said, well, I was happy to get it.
Yeah.
But my background is fishing continuously ever since I was a child.
Right. What's the biggest fish you ever caught?
Probably, I've got the world record on 310-pound jewfish or a Goliath grouper.
Wow.
And I've caught sharks up to 300 and, that kind of stuff. A lot of 129-pound, what is that, Ann? What kind of catfish was that?
A ballantone? Red-tail cat, I think it was.
Yeah, the ballantone cat in South America, 129 pounds. And that was exciting. But I think the most exciting thing that I do, we travel, Annie and I do a TV show. We travel all over North and South America and Central America, but I love to catch smallmouth bass.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. Well, because they're easy to catch.
Oh.
I'm not a muskie fisherman. My biggest muskie is only 29 pounds or something like that.
Right.
But I hold the world record with a fly rod and pike. Largest pike ever caught on a fly rod, and that was 34 and a half pounds, 53 inches long.
Right.
And so that was quite an accomplishment, but I still come back to my roots, and I love to fish the Mississippi.
Okay.
Upper Mississippi, and I've been involved in environmental challenges all my life.
What's the best way to fish a river? I mean, I've fished some rivers before, but I don't fly fish. Is fly fishing the way to do it?
No.
Okay.
probably just standard spinning equipment.
Okay.
And I've got 3 things that I like to see people do. I tell when I give a lecture, when I give a seminar, I tell them learn to slip a river with your boat. If you're in a boat, make sure you put your boat face the bow into the current, throttle the motor down to where you're actually slipping backwards. It was taught to me years and years ago by the old Indians
Okay.
up where I grew up. They used to get into a rapids, heavy rapids with a canoe, and there'd be 2 of them, one in the front, one in the back, and me in the middle fishing.
Okay.
And they'd shove off and paddle like the devil, but they'd go backwards.
Right.
That allows you to cast upstream and retrieve downstream. That's the second thing that's important. If you're fishing a river, remember food comes with the current.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you never see a fish with, the other thing is fish always have their head faced into the current. You never see one with the tail the opposite way. You know,
Right.
they wouldn't be there.
I suppose.
And then use something that looks like or a dull colored bait, such as a crayfish.
Okay.
Crayfish is a number. That's the third thing. 3 things: slip a river, use a crayfish colored jig, and cast upstream, retrieve downstream. And the 3 key things on fishing a river,
Okay. Now,
which I'm supposed to know something about.
okay. Now, I do a lot of bank fishing. So, and I've done a couple of rivers. So,
Bank fishing, he said.
Oh, bank fishing?
yeah. So,
Yeah, okay. You know what? I do too. At this time of the year now, we've had a cold spring, and we need to start getting into the river. Normally it'd be about the 4th of July. This year we're about 2 weeks behind. So now's the time to get into the rivers and wade them.
okay.
From working from the bank, and the other thing is, if you're going to work a river that you can wade, always wade upstream.
Okay.
Cast ahead of yourself. Remember, if you go in above your targeted area and walk downstream, you're flushing all the debris and the sound and the disturbance goes ahead of you to the fish you're fishing for.
Okay.
And that often will flush your quarry.
Mhm.
If you go in below it, you cast upstream, and then if you come to a big hole and you got water up to your waist and you're wading downstream, you step off into that hole, that water, all of a sudden you take a bath.
Oh, yeah.
So if you turn around and wade upstream, cast upstream, retrieve downstream, natural positioning,
Okay.
and then you don't take a bath
All right.
when you come to a hole.
Okay. Well, great. I tell you what, you've got a lot of information to pass along to listeners, and I really appreciate having you on the show. And I've said to both of you to make sure that you come back and talk to us some more. I did want to mention a couple of our sponsors, Fishlander Pontoons and Custom Tackle. I don't know if you've ever heard of them or not, but they are a Canadian company. Their mission is to provide sport fishermen, women, and enthusiasts of all ages with affordable solutions to their fishing needs. The owners, Bill Lalula and Joe Ong, are strong believers of the sport of catch and release, and so am I. They share the passion of the conservation of the freshwater resources so that our future generations can experience the same great fishing adventures in our beautiful backyards filled with lakes, streams, and rivers. Now, we've got one of those inflatable personal pontoon boats we'll be giving away in September. You'll see me out on area lakes. I'll have generally someone with me. It might be one of my sponsors, might be a friend or a neighbor, someone down the street, might be somebody, it might even be you. You never know next time. So, but these are great. Well, these are 8 to 11 feet. They're designed for one person and built to be extremely safe and fun. In fact, I've tried to jump off this thing in mid-lake, and I cannot do that. It's great. It comes with the oars, too. You can actually get some of these that are designed to put a small trolling motor on if you'd like. But I'll tell you what, they're just great to go out and row in. And some models come with an anchor as well. So, but that's Fishlander Pontoons. You can call them toll-free today and order one for yourself. That's 1-855-782-FISH. That's 1-855-782-3474. You can also go online to FishlanderPontoons.com. And Fishlander Pontoons and Custom Tackle always remind you to wear your life jacket. Again, that website is FishlanderPontoons.com. And also want to say thanks to Backwoods Sports. They're your fishing and hunting supply headquarters. In fact, they do carry some gaping lures, and you can stop in and see Tom, of course, Jack the dog, and for all your live bait and tackle needs, they've got all your live bait as well as any type of jigs that you need, and they also are your big game registration and CO2 fill station. They've got it all, the bobbers, sinkers, spinners, nets, and even camping gear. In fact, if Backwoods Sports doesn't have it, you don't need it. They're open 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., and you can visit Backwoods Sports today and tell them that you heard it right here on the Minnesota Fishing and Hunting Adventures. Now, I'm just going to turn my attention over to Evan Cornell from Dead Zone Guide Service. Now, Evan, you've never met these folks, have you?
No, I have not.
Okay. And I'll tell you what, I'm so impressed. I was impressed by the website and the family history of the Gapin Company. Now, I guess I understand that they're going to set you up with some lures to try some fishing, huh?
Yes, they are. I'm really looking forward to using them.
All right. Now, tell us a little bit about your company. You lead people on fishing and hunting adventures?
Yes, we do guided fishing, anything from small panfish up to northerns on Red Lake, local panfish around the Princeton area and the walleyes on Red Lake, and some walleyes around here.
Okay.
We do ducks across the state, ranging from here up to Lake of the Woods in the fall months, and ice house rentals, portable rentals, all the stuff that goes with ice fishing in the winter months on Red Lake and in the Princeton area.
Okay. And you'll do everything, right? You'll even bait the hook for people that
yes,
don't.
Yes, I will.
I don't mind baiting hooks. I mean, that's there's been some nasty leeches and stuff like that in the past, but nothing that has ever grossed me out. But I know my girls, they aren't really into doing that. They don't want to clean a fish, and you'll even clean fish too.
Yes, I even clean the fish.
Okay. And as you said a couple of weeks ago, if there's some fishing people out there that don't want to clean fish, you'll do it for how much? 75 cents?
75 cents per fish.
Okay. So you better have a whole bunch of fish, because that's gonna take some time. So you can probably what's the fastest you can clean a crappie in?
Oh, I couldn't give you an exact time. I'm pretty quick though. It
Probably
doesn't
15
take me long. Yeah, I've been cleaning fish since I was probably about 6 years old. My dad taught me, and he used to clean fish on a resort for a living when he was in school. So I learned from someone who can still go faster than I can.
Okay. Now, if you want to contract Evan with Dead Zone Guide Service, you go to dzguideservice.com. What's the phone number?
It is 612-321-1308.
I put you on the spot there. I don't normally call myself either. So,
You know, this sounds like a good guy to go fishing with.
yeah, it really does.
Maybe I can get him to take me up in Red Lake. Is Red Lake turned into a walleye lake now?
Yes, it has really came back into a decent walleye lake.
Well, you know, it was big perch for so long, and now I understand that walleyes have really come back.
Yes, we've done really well the past few years up there. We've had some very, very good luck.
Now, I want to talk a little bit, Dan, about the different how you came up with the different type of lures. I mean, the design and things like that. And how do you say, well, this one's going to catch walleye for you, or this one's going to catch crappie?
You know, I there's no set pattern, but I've been doing it so long. I'm 81 years old now, and it just comes as a natural thing.
Mm-hmm.
I seem to know if you think like a fish, you can design lures for fish.
Okay.
If you think like a retailer or a fisherman, that's hard to do.
Okay.
So I guess the best answer that I can do is that as long as I've been doing it, I've found that if I think what fish like the best and take all those little factors into consideration, you can usually come up with a good lure. We've got a new one called a spin bee, and it'll be available at your local dealers here right now. And the spin bee, we think, is going to be the hottest thing we've had in about 30 years since we had the ugly bug out.
Okay. Now you're talking about the ugly bug. You came out with it.
Oh, that was developed in 1968, and it became the hottest selling jig in Canada in late 79 and 80.
Okay.
We sold 1 million of them between Canada and here in those 2 years. And it was the hottest walleye jig in Canada. It's a rock walking jig, and now it's had an insurgent. Everything cycles in the tackle industry.
Okay.
So we found that last year and the year before, here comes the ugly bug back in Canada here and here as well. Now they use it. It was originally developed for a river jig. You cast upstream, retrieve downstream. You're always hung up on the bottom.
Okay.
That's another tip. Get to the bottom if you want the big fish. If you want the little fish, stay high,
Sure.
So we needed something to walk the rock bottom. Even though I ran the hook house and the jigs were free, I found that when I cast upstream, retrieve downstream, I get hung on the bottom. And I got tired of tying jigs on, so
Sure.
it didn't cost me anything, but at least I was getting down. Now, the head on the ugly bug is designed to walk rock.
Okay.
You get into rock, it's about 85% snag free on rock. The other thing it does, it always sits balanced. It's a balanced head. So you never, your strike zone is always level, and that helps you crappie fishing. Up here where Aaron is, he's doing the crappie fishing. That would help him.
Okay. Now, I'm going to talk to Ann for a moment. Ann is a spokesperson for your company. She's also the salesperson, and they call you Bob or Ann, right?
Yep.
Okay. And it's kind of like that Beach Boys song, Bob or Ann.
That's how it got developed. Yep.
I figured as much. So I was thinking about that the other day on the way to work. So, but tell us a little bit about your background and how long have you been with Gapin?
21 years. I started in 1991, actually 22 years now. I grew up on a farm in central over Melrose Way, and huge family.
Okay.
And we had a little creek running behind or through our farm. We had a small creek running through our farm and one running past it, which we could catch skinny little pike and rough fish out of that. And so we did that some as kids. And some of the Sauk River where it ran through Melrose, our parents would drop us off there a couple times a summer to fish under the bridge there, and so that was always fun. We didn't always catch much, and we had the rattiest little tackle you could imagine. So we never could buy anything new, so we ended up using old scrappy little closed face reels and stuff like that. And we dug our own worms, angle worms, and had little styrofoam pieces for bobbers. And,
I think we've all done that at one time or another. So.
Yeah, it works. It works. It's good training. It teaches you well how to start out.
Now you've been with Dan for you said about 21 years. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
What are some of the exciting things that Dan seems to be a very exciting person himself? What are some of the exciting things that you guys have done? I know you've done TV shows, radio shows. What else have you done? DVDs?
We do a lot of filming, and we do a lot of underwater filming now too, and that is turning out to be very interesting. It's a lot of hard work to get that footage and to make it happen, and of course trying to get fish to strike when you got your camera down there. That's another ball game.
Oh, I bet.
But it works out, and it's a lot of fun for people to see underwater footage because otherwise you can't imagine what's going on down there until you see through the eye of a camera lens. So that
Annie is probably one of the best underwater photographers in the industry at this time.
Oh, really?
She developed into a really good camera lady.
So
people ask me, well, how does she do it? I always tell them that I grab her by the feet and shove her down head first in the water. And you object to that a little bit.
I think I would too.
I object to anything that's not true.
So do you put the scuba gear on then, or?
Yeah.
So you trained in scuba?
No, we don't do any of that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
No, we don't have that type of equipment. That's pretty expensive stuff, and
it is. I used to do some
that
scuba
kind
stuff,
of camera gear, but
yeah, we're using all Markham lenses, and then we've got robotics that we've developed that will literally follow the fish and go down to the fish and so on, and and Annie's become really proficient at doing that type of filming.
Wow! Now you just came back from Canada doing another TV show up there.
Yep, we were up on the top of Lake Superior. It's on the other side of Thunder Bay, about 70, 80 miles is where the town of Nipigon is, where Dan grew up, and so we went out of there down to Ignis Island and stayed on a small island nearby called Bowman Island.
Okay.
And we're filming the lake trout and the brook trout out of that area. It was a very beautiful area. Agates, again, even a whole island devoted, they call Agate Island, and in which you can go rock searching if you want. And what else that feature? Very good fishery. And
Yeah, we were doing a documentary up there, and a documentary on the area because it's so pristine.
Right.
And so virgin-like and wilderness area. Canadian government has kind of protected that area. And as a boy, the last time I was there, I was 63 years ago.
Right.
I was guiding at a Squaw Bay camp. We had a tent camp out there.
Okay.
And I hadn't been back in 63 years, so it was rather nostalgic for me to go back. Not very much had changed. That was the fish were in the same spots, fishing lake trout. The increase was in brook trout. I had never seen as many brook trout as we caught this time. They call them coasters up there,
Okay.
and it's a shoreline fish. And then we also caught rainbow trout and northern pike. But the area is known as the lake trout area. The water is so clear you can look down 50 feet in the water out of the boat and see whitefish and lake trout swimming along the bottom.
Oh, it's always exciting to see that. So, all right, I have to. We've got about another 6 minutes left of the show. I need to talk about Mounts and Memories Taxidermy. You can visit them online at mountsandmemories.com. It's owned and operated by Oliver Warzeka in Cambridge. It's a complete taxidermy source with services for shoulder, pedestal, and full body mounts, fish, birds, reproductions, antlers, does European, exotic species, freeze drying, and much, much more. You need to visit his website because it's got it all right there for you. And in fact, he's going to be doing an elephant head here, not too distant future here. So give Oliver a call today at 320-491-2131. Visit mountsandmemories.com and tell Ollie that you heard it right here on Minnesota Fishing and Hunting Adventures. And we do want to use. How long have you been doing this now, Dan? When did you start the company, or when was the company started? I should say, because I know he's like generation.
I'm really hard of hearing, and sometimes I need Annie's help to. And I just missed what Brian said. So, what was it, Ann?
I believe he asked when you started developing lures or when you started.
I started in my dad's fly shop in Canada.
Yeah.
By the way, for any of you that are fly fishermen out there listening, my dad was the originator of the original muddler fly. It's the largest selling trout fly in the world. Everybody makes it, but my dad created it back in 1935 on the Nipigon River for brook trout. Mm-hmm. And I grew up in the fly shop. And that was my job. I grew up tying flies, then I'm making the original inline spinner called a knee peg, and from that came the Paul Bunyan 66 was a copy of that, and then the Lake Erie Deary was a copy of the Paul Bunyan 66. So when you're out there and you think you're developing something new, it's really hard to find something that hasn't already been done.
Right. And so you've been doing this a long time. I remember when I was a kid, my grandfather used to take me out on the lake. I used to go up every summer when I was a kid. I think it was Browns Lake, Eden Valley, I think it was. And we go out and fish. And Grandpa used to just love to troll,
Yeah.
And Grandma would sit there. She'd be having her knitting along with her a lot of times too. So,
no, Grandpa was a pretty smart fella because I've found over the years, I had a problem with my ligaments in my arm one time, my hand, and a good friend of mine, Carl Maltz, that I used to write with, do stories in Fishing Facts magazine, said this is going to be the summer you're going to troll, and you're going to catch more fish than you've ever caught before.
Right.
And that turned out to be true. Trolling is probably the most productive way to cover ground and catch fish that I know of. I troll a snake, the the rum, in the St. Francis River all the time.
Yeah.
And in a little John boat with a 3-horse motor on it. And amazing what you can catch out of them.
Oh, I bet.
And the same thing with the lake.
So what do you do in your spare time? Do you fish?
My spare time. Well, I'll tell you a story about me, Brian, and you folks listening. I've got I just finished my 26th book, which is a book on panfish.
Right.
It's got a book on crappie and bluegills mainly. And prior to that, a book for a Book of the Month Club called Adventure Fishing in the Americas that Annie helped me cooperate with. And everything I've written, not on a computer, it's handwritten on a tablet when I'm out.
Oh.
Now, every one of if you see any of my articles, my name is on it. I've written it.
Yeah.
But it's all handwritten on a tablet. And I'm kind of proud of that, I took one of these new computer, what do they call them? Laptops into the Arctic with me one time.
Right.
And I got up there and I got my story done, pushed the button, and erased the whole thing. And I said, that's it, no more of that.
Sure.
So I went back to using my tablet that I carry and writing, my little tablet, and I write all my pre-write, and then I come back and I do the final write. I've got a gal in the office that can read my scribbling pretty good, and she transcribes it into the new modern way of doing things.
Okay. Well, we're out of time for the day. This day has gone by so quickly. I want to have you folks come back again, if you will.
Oh, it'll be my honor.
In fact, I'd like to have you come back more than one time.
Because
I know that
I've got to go fishing with this guy.
Oh, yeah. You guys need to hook up and do that. I understand he's really fun to do, a lot of that fishing and hunting. So want to thank both you, Evan, and from Dead Zone Guide Service, and also Ann and Dan from Gaping Lures for coming in, and we will talk to you real soon again.
Okay. Maybe next time Annie can tell you where she got her name, Bob or Annie.
Yes, I'd like to hear that too. So, but thank you for coming in. Folks, that is it for the show today. Do want to say a big thanks to all of our sponsors for making this show possible. And that is Fishlander Pontoons and Custom Tackle. Again, you can call them toll-free, 1-855-782-FISH. That's 855-782-3474. Go to FishlanderPontoons.com. Also, Backwood Sports at 5690 Highway 95 Northwest in Princeton. You can call Tom over there at 763-389-1987. Also, Dead Zone Guide Service. Log on to dzguideservice.com. That's Evan Cornell. He's the owner and operator. Call him today, 612-321-1308. And also want to say thanks to Mountain Memories Taxidermist, located in Cambridge, mountainmemories.com. You can call 320-491-2131. Again, thanks to Ann Orth and also Dan Gapin from Gapin Lures, Evan Cornell with Dead Zone Guide Service for being our guest on the show today. And if you can answer the trivia question is, who were my guests today on the show? Email me at mnfa@wqpmradio.com. Yeah, I know it's a real easy one. You should be able to get that without any problem. Give me any one of the three. I'd really like to have all three. And get a $10 gift certificate to one of our great sponsors. That's Backwoods Sports in Princeton. And you can use it on pretty much anything you want to in the store. Have yourself a great week. We will talk to you bright and early again next Friday for Minnesota fishing and hunting adventures right here on WQPM.